In this video, we will review the structure and the function of blood vessels. So blood vessels have three layers. The outer layer is called the tunica externa, and this is made of collagen fibers that are closely woven together to protect and anchor the blood vessels. The tunica externa is the layer that is innervated with nerve fibers to send signals to the blood vessel. In the middle, we have the muscular layer, which is called the tunica media. Here you can see smooth muscle cells that are circularly arranged, connected with elastin to allow for movement of the blood vessels when we vasoconstrict or vasodilate. And the inner layer is the tunica intima, and it is made up of a single layer of flattened endothelial cells. This is the smooth lining of our blood vessels. It's held together by connective tissue and an internal elastic membrane. The cells of the endothelium and our smooth muscle cells in the blood vessels can be involved in the pathogenesis of blood vessel diseases such as hypertension. So the endothelial cells form that smooth lining of the blood vessels called the endothelium. And these endothelial cells play an active role in controlling cardiovascular and other function. Let's look at the different properties and functions of endothelial cells. First, the endothelial cells maintain a selectively permeable barrier. That means it lets some things into the cells and other things are not able to get in. Endothelial cells are important in the regulation of thrombosis or blood clotting. And endothelial cells modulate our blood flow and our vascular reactivity. So they send signals that promote vasodilation, such as nitric oxide, or it may promote vasoconstriction. Endothelial cells also regulate growth of our smooth muscle cells. Endothelial cells can secrete cytokines and direct migration of white blood cells during the inflammation or immune response. They also function to maintain our extracellular matrix by making collagen, laminin, and proteoglycans. And finally, endothelial cells are important in lipoprotein metabolism. So it is our endothelial cells that oxidate our very low density and low density lipoproteins and cholesterol. When there are changes in the function of endothelial cells, we call this endothelial dysfunction. The things that you think of as risk factors for cardiovascular disease induce or cause endothelial dysfunction, and this is why they can initiate the process of cardiovascular disease development. These cardiovascular risk factors include things like smoking, having high cholesterol, having high blood pressure or hypertension, inflammation, insulin resistance, as with diabetes, and aging. And disorders associated with endothelial dysfunction include high blood pressure or hypertension, thrombosis or excessive blood clotting, like deep vein thrombosis, hyperlipidemia, elevated lipids in the blood, and atherosclerosis, the development of plaques in our blood vessels. Endothelial dysfunction is also implicated in heart failure, kidney disease, and erectile dysfunction, among others. These diseases occur because when you have endothelial dysfunction, this can promote inflammation and oxidative stress. It can promote coagulation of the blood. It can cause hypertension that's resistant to normal treatments, and it can also cause heart failure. That middle layer of our blood vessels, the tunica media layer, is made up of our smooth muscle cells. And these cells control the diameter of the blood vessel. So you can see in this picture the diameter of a normal artery. If you want to increase blood flow, you can vasoconstrict or decrease that diameter. That will increase the pressure in the blood, much like if you put your finger over part of the mouth of a hose, that water is now going to go through a smaller opening, but much faster. We call this vasoconstriction, and this is initiated through our sympathetic nervous system with the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. When we relax our blood vessels, we call this vasodilation. Our endothelial cells release a hormone called nitric oxide that causes the blood vessels to relax. Viagra will relax the blood vessels by signaling parts of this nitric oxide pathway, causing vasodilation, and that's how that drug works. This is a brief review of our structure and function of blood vessels.